And welcome back to Law and Crime. Let's turn just a bit to New Hampshire. This is the missing daughter murder sentencing of Adam Montgomery. This happened yesterday. In case you aren't familiar with the case, the defendant was found guilty of second-degree murder and some other charges relating to his 5-year-old daughter, Harmony Montgomery, reportedly missing in 2021. This was actually 2 years after she disappeared. So the story goes like this. Adam gains custody of Harmony in 2019. And that takes her out of Massachusetts, the foster care system there. And according to victims, stepmother Kayla Montgomery Adam killed Harmony after punching her in the face repeatedly. And the victim, supposedly he was mad because she had a bathroom accident in the van. They were living in a van. And so now Kayla and the defendant worked together to conceal the body. And that body has yet to be found today. So yesterday, Judge Messer sentenced Adam Montgomery to 56 years to life in prison in the death of his missing daughter. The defendant is serving 2 consecutive prison sentences of 15 to 30 years. That's for some unrelated weapons charges. Translation, he ain't getting out for some time. But that sentence could have been different if Adam had taken the offer the prosecution gave him prior to the hearing. So let's listen.
That she would stick to the story he created, followed by not less than a minimum of 45 years to life in the charge of second-degree murder. The state recognizes that this is just a recommendation. The decision today lies with the court, regardless of what the state says. But that's the state's recommendation today. However, Your Honor, if the defendant will right now tell us where he hid her body, sufficient for us to find her, if he'll tell us right now where he put that CMC bag so that her family and the Manchester Police Department can recover her remains in the next 7 days, then the state would amend its recommendation to a minimum of 35 years to life and let the second-degree assault, falsifying physical evidence, abuse of a course, and witness tampering sentences be served concurrent. But right now, Your Honor, if he tells us where we can recover her and we do so within the next 7 days, we will change our recommendation to 35 years. And about 30 seconds ago, the defendant chose again to be heartless and immoral and selfish and unapologetic, which for the purposes of you deciding his punishment and rehabilitation and his deterrence and coming up with the right sentence for him means that he has just yet shown you again in this courtroom, and for anybody else, that he is heartless, immoral, selfish, and an unapologetic murderer of his own child.
So now, defense attorney Carolyn Smith went on to say, in response to the state,
the state was doing a stunt. They were seeking a reaction today from Adam Montgomery in the courtroom by their stunt for something that they said, give us 7 days. And then Mr. Montgomery, acting appropriate with his counsel's representation, was called heartless, immoral, and no remorse. Mr. Montgomery does not have to express remorse here for something where he maintains his innocence. It would violate his constitutional rights against self-incrimination.
The court also listening to victim impact statements from the adoptive fathers of Jameson Miller, Harmony's half-brother, also Harmony's biological mother, Crystal Sorley. Take a look.
Jameson has constantly asked us, where's Harmony? Recently, he once was struggling to go to bed. He looked off in the shadows of his closet and said, is that Harmony there, looking back at me? These are no questions for a little boy to be asking. He no longer can hold on to that hope. Since learning about the death of innocent and beautiful Harmony, Jameson has suffered. Just a few weeks ago in school, his teacher asked him to draw a picture of his family. He drew a picture of his 2 dogs, his 2 brothers, his 2 dads, but then he put a heart above all of us, and inside that heart was the letter H. He said that was Harmony looking down on us. Jameson constantly asks us, who took my sister away? Adam, you took away his best friend, his sister. You introduced murder into his life and forever created a void that can never be filled.
She had a life worth living, unlike your own. And it bothered you to your core that she was nothing like you and everything like me. Beautiful inside and out, funny, smart, sassy, loving, and most of all, kind. She wasn't a coward like you, and I'll be forever grateful for that. You're a coward who has to be in control of everything and everyone around you, insecure and paranoid. The list goes on. She is none of those things. She lit up a room when she walked in. She made a mark wherever she went, and you couldn't stand it. She was an incredible big sister. She loved her brother, Jameson, to her core, and I know she loved your sons too, no matter the picture you tried to paint of her. December 7th will forever be the darkest day of my life. The night you beat her to death, I woke up in the middle of the night in agonizing pain, from my head to my toes, and I felt like I was dying, not knowing, in the most brutal way, a part of me was dying. Suffering in that back seat for 20 minutes while you and your wife fed yourselves and your other children, and you got high. 20 minutes that you could have used to save her life. Did she cry for me? Did she scream? Did she beg you to stop? I'll never know. Because like I said, you're too much of a coward to tell the truth and do one good thing for Harmony. You may have taken her physically from me, but she is always, always with me.
Heartbreaking that story there from the biological mother of Harmony. And I want to talk about the sentencing, but because we just heard these victim impact statements, let me ask you this, Bob, because I know you've dealt with this before. Crystal Sorey is bringing an action against the Child Protective Services Department of New Hampshire for wrongful death. Also, the Massachusetts lawmakers are looking now at changing their custody policies. We're closing the door after the horses escaped. But you've seen these kinds of cases before. Give me your take on these cases against these government agencies.
I mean, again, they're fact sensitive in all these situations. I mean, it's not going to help this child or bring this child back or have an impact on this case. But, the design behind these are individual cases against the government failing to do its job that the legislature's entrusted it to do in protecting children in this case. And, as a consequence of that, giving personal relief, but also trying to maybe change the system or have it be more responsive or avoid these kinds of things again in the future. Yeah,
maybe Harmony's Law in the offing, something that incorporates this tragedy. So let me ask you about the sentencing, Philip, because this guy's doing 32 plus for unrelated gun charges. Is it really an incentive to this guy, who, by the way, never showed up during the course of his own trial, and I was a little surprised that the piece of garbage was there for the sentencing. But, so what's the big deal to him? You shave 20 years off the indeterminate sentence. Do you really care? Is it really a motivation for this guy?
Legally speaking, they did not give him enough of a senior discount off the sentence to take them up on it. And I'll tell you why. First of all, it wasn't that much time shaved off. But did you hear how they qualified even that sort of low discount? They said that you got to tell us where she is sufficient for us to find her. So what does that mean? It means it's sort of an illusory promise. Because what if he did come clean, but they can't find her? They're going to say, well, you lied to us. Whatever information you gave us was insufficient. So therefore, we are rescinding that deal. And now the judge can just sentence you according to law and give you the max. So no, I wouldn't do it that way. This offer should have been done pre-trial, because at that point, if they had a deal, it would have never proceeded to trial. and that would have been the obvious disposition on the case. But so far, there just wasn't enough incentive for him to admit anything, especially with what's pending on appeal. You never know. Those words could be used against him, and the conviction would be affirmed.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I thought it was a little bit of a kind of a performance art. You know, I didn't think this guy's going to jump up like a Perry Mason moment and tell them where this little girl's body was. He's a piece of trash, this guy. He's proven it throughout the course of the trial. Not surprised that he would do so at his own sentencing. So enjoy the rest of your life, Adam Montgomery. Let's take a break. Thanks, guys, for weighing in on that. We're going to come back to Massachusetts and the Reed case when we come back after this little break. Stay where you are.